So hey, let's start the loops in Python. Yeah, it's introduction to the loops. Why we use loops? Loops generally used to repeat the block of code. What does it mean? If we want to just assume, if we want to repeat such a task to which we have to do again and again and again. Let's assume that if I have to print my name 10 times, if you can print manually. If I have to print my name 100 times, then the loops comes into the sense we can automate the task and we can just initialize by 0 or on a 1 and just set a limitations where loops can end and until the condition is true, loops will be iterating it again and again. And why we use loops? It is to automate the task. A task can be automated using loops. And generally in Python, there are the two types of loop. And yeah, that is for loop and while loop. And for loop is, let's say, for loop we use to iterate over a sequence. It means both the such a same task can be performed using both loops. But for loop it comes into sense where we can just we have the limit last option of last stage where we know that at such a condition the loop should be end and we can see here it is used in list, ranges, string, tuples, and commonly used when the number of iterations is known. Means how many times we have to run such a task. Then we use normally for loops, and we can see here flowchart of the for loop. A program starts, then it checks the condition. If a condition is true, then the block of code is executed, and then the updation occurs, the variable's value is updated, and again we check the condition. If if condition is true, then again the same block of code will be executed. And if the condition is false, then the loop will be ended, and our program should be ended, and or ended or further executions of or further execution of a code will occur. This is for loop. And let's see while loop. While loop, before going to the while loop, let's see we use a range in for loop. A range in for loop means for I, where I is a variable. It means we can store a value in I, and it's always in coding. Value starts from counting start from 0. Once the I is 0 in range 5 means uh, until the condition is I is less than 5. Then the same block of code will be executed again and again. Yeah. And if I is equal to 5, then condition will become wrong or false. Then the execution loop will be ended. And this is a code where indentation is a must in Python. In other programming languages, indentation is not such a big task, but in Python it's very important because if indentation is break, your execution or code will throw error. Let's see while loop. While loop is used until we want to say that until the condition is true, just run the same block of code. And when the condition become false, then only exit the loop. It means in for loop we have a limit, last limit, where the conditions will come and loop will be ended. But in while loop, there is a specific condition. Until the condition is true, then the block of code is executed. And when condition become false, then only the execution will be stopped. Yeah, let's read. Run as long as the condition is true. Yeah, and be used when the number of iteration is known and must be careful to avoid infinite loops. Let's explain what is infinite loop. Infinite loop is the loop where the conditions is always become true. It's never going to be false. Then until the condition is true, loop block will be executed and it will never be ended. And it can cause the program crash. Always avoid to be in such a situation that infinitely. And we can see here the example in the example of while loop. We can initialize a variable like count 0 while count is less than 5. So until the count is less than 5, this line of code will be executed again and again. Print count. It means at this condition count is 0, then it will print 0, then update the count by 1, it will become 1, and print again. It will check the condition. If 1 is less than 5, then execute this line again. It updates it count to 2, and again it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then this line is block of code. When count becomes 5, yeah, when count becomes 5, then it will check the condition. If 5 is less than 5, that is false. And then if the condition is false, the execution